Dylan with life. That's it. That's the podcast. Got to get into talking here. Wet the whistle. Welcome to episode 9 of Dylan with Life. It's lip balm season. Make sure you got your lip balm in your pocket before you leave the house. Phone, wallet, keys, headphones, lip balm. You're ready to go. Just like this episode. Ring.
I used to think if I couldn't find hope, I should just let it all go. I used to think if I couldn't make dreams come true, I should just let them all go. When life seems impossible, look from a new angle, change just one little thing. When life feels intolerable, find your true source of love. Concentrate, focus on love. Center now, focus on love. Dedicate, focus on love. Focus now, focus on
I had the thought. I had a thought during the week that I hope people can relate to, and that is that I'm not really a fan of toast, but I fucking love warm bread. You know what I mean? As close to toast as I can get without it getting crunchy, that's what I'm looking for. Even just like that little bit, maybe that little bit of crunch starting. But as long as the bread is still bready, then we're golden. Like I don't ever want not warm bread, but I also don't want toast. It's just about balance, right? Guess that's the whole thing with life too. I've been thinking about balance a lot recently. You know, I chose to have the podcast structured the way it is. No topic, no real structure for a reason. I think it's the main thing missing from everyone's lives. I don't want there to be some artificial or non-existent rules that I have to follow and stick to a script or anything like that. I just want it to be my feelings, my thoughts, my life, and through that engage your thoughts, your feelings, your life. Like sports, for example, one of the biggest influences in my life. I know whenever or wherever I am, I can think about or I can watch or I can talk or read about sports in some way. It's a great crutch, but it's just that, a crutch to help me get through life. It's a distraction. And that's fine. We need distractions. We need time away from life. But I think we've gone too far that way. And phones aren't help. I mean, phones help, but they don't help in this sense. They've made every distraction so accessible. Not only are they available to us easier, but they are customizable to constantly feed us things that we want to see. So we fill our waking hours with distractions. Whether it's this TV show or this sporting event or this drink or this task or this job. Through all that, we miss the point of it all. Of life. Because none of it matters. And I'll rephrase that. Nothing matters. Like literally nothing matters. And if nothing is what matters, then we need more nothing. We need more time doing nothing. And that doesn't mean laying on the couch with Brooklyn Nine-Nine on the TV while you scroll through Reddit and then Twitter and then Instagram and then Facebook and then Snapchat and then repeat the cycle until hours have gone by and it's almost time for bed. I mean, like really doing nothing. Like just sitting outside, sitting on the patio, just existing, or sitting on the couch. No distractions. Just being. letting your mind run wild with whatever it's going to think about. And that's the podcast. Everything's okay for half an hour, and I can just sit with my mind and talk through the things that have been filling my thoughts. I read a quote from philosopher Adrian Moore earlier today, and it was, "It is a deep human tragedy that death is terrifying and immortality unbearable." Definitely made me stop for a second, because death being my biggest fears is something I think about a lot, and immortality, or the, how that would actually look or feel, is something I think about a lot, because obviously that's the escape from death, would be immortality. But there's no way that doesn't fix it. That seems just as bad. That seems just as scary, at least. And I think of that now because that's the one thing that connects us all. Every single person who has ever lived, has, or will die. Everything else in life is superficial. There's only life and death. And we try to hide from that fact as much as we can, it seems. Definitely I do. Trying not to. But we have all these distractions and petty quarrels, and with people all around the globe, and skin color's an issue, and religion's an issue, and the country you're from, the country other people are from. It makes it easy to pick a side or pick a team and have this going on, but it's all made up bullshit, really. As is your favorite sports team and their rival. Like, I get it, spices things up, makes the day-to-day easier. But there's only ever one day in life, and that's today. That's right now. You can think and plan for tomorrow all you want, but tomorrow never comes. You're only ever in the present. Like, tomorrow is still going to be today when you're there. So enjoy today. Make memories today. And chasing the feeling of the past is pointless and exhausting. It's definitely good to look back, be aware that things are different, but be sure that you know where you are at right now. And if there's something you want to change, start working on it now. If there's something you want to say it now. If there's something you want to find out now. Quit distracting yourself and putting things off. I really wish I could take my own advice. Talk about your feelings more. Talk about your fears. Talk about your dreams. What do you want out of life? You don't need to talk about Game of Thrones every day, or you don't have to talk about things that are there, to distract us. Talk about what's really going on here. Talk about this experience we're all having. And that's going to include those distractions at times, but I guess it's really just about balance. Warm bread. It is about balance. Don't become a monk, or don't become Amish, but don't become a robot either. Gotta find that sweet spot in between it all. The definition of a robot's probably something to do with being a machine, and with that being the case, we all like to believe that we can never become robots because we aren't machines. We're human, we're natural beings. But if we were to tinker with the definition of robot, it becomes apparent that we really are being transformed into robotic beings. Not just with technology and the fact that our phones are literal extensions of ourselves, like they hold our memories and store additional brain or computing power for us, additional knowledge that we're just storing outside of our brains. I don't need to remember phone numbers inside my head because I'm storing them in my pocket. I can still access it when I need it. It's not just the fact that I can express my emotions with people without ever seeing or touching them, just through using this mechanical extension I have. It's not even the fact that there's a digital version of me on my friends' and family's phones and computers that they interact with more often than my physical self. It's the fact that I wake up at the same time, in the same place, every Thursday to Monday. I hop on my bike, go to the same building for the same amount of time, do similar tasks. Then I go home and do similar things for the night. Repeat it all. The way society is set up right now has really robbed us of spontaneity. Whether it's because we don't have the money or the means or the energy or whatever, the spark of life is missing for a lot of us. But I don't think it needs to be. Again, it's about balance. Structure's good for getting into a routine and making sure that things get done. But too much of it will leave you desiring something that you don't even know, that you can't put a finger on. You just know there's a void there. No structure will have you feeling lost, which obviously isn't a good thing either. Balance. I really do have promise and hope for the future. If we can figure out the pressing environmental issues and do away with some of the outrageous greed of the 1% and really work together to enjoy our lives, we could all be happier. I'm hopeful for automation and being able to have actual machines, not human ones, doing a lot of the work that we're currently being saddled with. We could all be happier if not saddled. That's some wordplay, hey? A little more time to really live. That's all I want. And it's up to me, it's up to you, it's up to us. The distractions are nice, I enjoy them. I can pass days away watching shows or being on my phone. But that's why it's good to have these moments, even if it's half an hour, that's longer than usual. You don't have to go entire days without things, but start making a point of spending time away from distraction. And start looking at what a distraction is differently. Because there's a lot of distractions out there that are hiding as other things, as errands or as tasks we think we need to be doing. It's crazy right now sitting here, December 11th, 2019. December 11th, 2019. It's 2020 soon. The last few years, especially for me, have been a trip. Like, I think back a year ago today, I had only been in this new place for a couple months. My best friend was in the hospital. Didn't know if he was going to ever regain full consciousness. I had only been at the job that I was at for half a year, after having been at previous job for like 5 years. And now it's, a year later and I'm still at this place, still at this job. Spent yesterday with my friend that was in the hospital a year ago. And you go back even 2 years ago around this time. And that was 2 years ago. December was probably the darkest time of my life. Personally, at least, mentally. I was so broken. I was dealing with the side effects of a concussion and had a lot of other things mounting up. I'd quit my job and car had broke down, and my younger cousin had attempted suicide earlier in the year, and there was so much going on. It was so heavy, and I was so unprepared for it all. I think that I had allowed myself in the years before to just get into that routine and just let everything pass by, and years had gone by with not a whole lot of change, and then it all came at once at a time that I was vulnerable, and it broke me down. I didn't see any of my friends that Christmas. I barely saw my family. And it's interesting because last year was similar too, just because of the circumstances that were going on. Different, but similar. And then now here I am this year. And it's much different again. It's crazy the difference that a year makes. And how you don't really notice it while it's going on as much. It's not about the destination, but the journey. Like, I'm here right now, but right now doesn't mean a whole lot. This is just part of the journey. What right now means is that it's going to affect where I'm at the end of it. But you always remember the trip more than what it was about. It's all about what went on during something, not about how it ended. I was at Alex Burrows' Ring of Honor induction night here in Vancouver a week ago. And it was nice to see all the memories and plays from his career, especially the Dragon Slayer goal, and really that just furthers the previous point. That year, the Canucks made it to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which they ended up losing. It was obviously tough for fans, for players, and management alike, I'm sure. And it took years for those wounds to heal. But now, almost a decade later, can look back at it and its pinnacle moments and celebrate them. Just as we done had they won Game 7 and won the Stanley Cup. The end result doesn't affect the memories made or experienced along the way. That Alex Burrows moment is still what it is. The Ryan Kessler Series 2 against Nashville, those all still hit the same. They still feel the same. They're as enjoyable to look back on. And had it went a different way at the end, then there'd be other memories along the way. But it really doesn't matter what the end result was. And so try not to get wrapped up in where you're going or where you're going to be, and try to just enjoy where you're at, whether that's a rough patch or it's a good patch, a smooth patch. Try to enjoy it for what it is, for being life, for being your experiences, for being what you get to learn from. If you were going to die the day after tomorrow, how would you spend your last day? If you're going to die in a week, how would you spend those last 7 days? And what about a month? You got 30 days to live. What things from your current life and routine would you continue on? What would you do more of in those last 30 days? What would you do? Okay, so you've got a year left. How and what do you change to make the most of this last rotation around the sun? Because that's really all we've got. We've got some amount of time left. We just don't know how long that is. So do what you want. Do what makes you happy. Who cares if it's weird? There's another quote I heard over these 2 weeks since I took a week off. Not even sure why I took the week off, to be honest. Wasn't planned. I wasn't like, I'm going to take a week off. It was more, I just didn't get around to it. And I don't think it has to be looked at as a problem, or I have to look at it as a problem within myself, but I do know that I wish I didn't take the week off. It makes coming back to it strange, weird. But who cares if it's weird, just do it. But I heard another quote over the last 2 weeks that I wanted to mention here. Life is a tragedy for those who feel, and a comedy for those who think. I like it. I think that I definitely used to feel or live my life just feeling more so than anything, not thinking so much or not thinking as much. I would just sort of let things affect me. Just feel things, feel the gravity of situations. And it's, there's nothing wrong with that. There's really nothing wrong with that. No, empathy is a good thing. But it can make life heavy. It can also make life extremely happy when you're just feeling. But once I got out of my feels a little more, spent a lot more time just thinking about things, then yeah, now I try to find the humor in everything. I see the comedy. When things go wrong, I think about how funny it is that things are going wrong, especially if everything's going wrong. It's still hard. Still not the easiest thing to deal with, but being able to look at it and think about and find the humor in it helps a lot. So try to feel and try to think. Because I don't think doing just one will work. It is about balance. Recommendation today is going to be something holiday season related. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. Haven't heard anything back from the riddles, or the riddle, from last episode. So we're going to hold off on that. Christmas is such a strange time. For me, at least. Like, I absolutely love Christmas. Whenever the season rolls around, and I'm living and I'm loving it, seeing ads and things about Christmas, I get saddened by the fact that I've only got about 50 Christmases left. But at the same time, it kind of motivates me to make the most of them and enjoy them the way I want. Yeah, it's weird. It's like there's no other time in the year that I feel as alive, I guess, or that I feel as much than the Christmas holiday season. And I wonder if that's just the climate that I'm in. Like, obviously it's winter, it's dark, it's cold, and then you just get this pretty glow of Christmas lights and decorations and different things, and everybody's all bundled up and houses are decorated and everybody's in this spirit, in this mode. It feels great. And I really think about life a lot more during that time, when I guess I'm seeing, or when I guess I'm enjoying life more, or I've got more time to think about it. It's just a cathartic time, I guess. I feel like this podcast could be happier. Next episode's just going to be happy. Puppies. Rainbows. Butterflies. Something I've been seeing a lot recently, and I feel so dumb, is the 2-button toilets. Like, I see them like people's houses, but also just like out and about. Public washrooms. I don't understand the 2-button toilets. I don't get it. I feel like one button, when I try, doesn't even work. And they're on a circle, and there's 2 buttons, and I feel like one button just presses the other button down anyway. But yeah, I feel like one of those buttons doesn't work, and then the other button does. It's why is there 2 buttons? Why is there buttons on toilets anyway? Handles much better. Should be something that your foot can just like garbage cans where you step on the bottom and the top opens up. That's how toilets should flush. just step on them. Don't know why we got to use our hands after going to the washroom so much. Trying to be happier, right? Happier. Bring this episode. Let's end this episode on a happier thing. Christmas movies. Christmas movies are fun. Christmas movies are happy. Some of them. I'm thinking Elf. Elf is my favorite Christmas movie. And I understand that maybe some people don't like Will Ferrell, but ugh, come on. It's so good. Watch Elf. Put it in your holiday movie rotation. Belle's here. Hello, kitten. I feel bad having a pet. Like, especially now, my cat used to be an outdoor cat for most of her life. First probably like 9 years of her life, and she loved it. She'd only come in to sleep. But now that we're in an apartment, she's stuck inside. She's got the patio, that's about it. Just doesn't seem natural. Doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem fair. With most pets, right? They should not be confined to these small houses. Imagine if you had to live your life in a house. You can scale it up. It can be a huge house. But still, you've got to live your entire life in a castle? That would suck. Birds? Birds are fucked anyway, so I don't care if they're trapped in a house, but that's gotta suck for them. Really hope one day we can figure out a way of communicating with animals and really getting their thoughts on things. It's gotta be possible, right? It's gotta be somewhat possible. They've gotta think certain things. I remember hearing something about even if a lion could talk, you wouldn't be able to understand it because its points of references would be so off or so different, being a lion. I'll have to look into that. I don't know exactly why. I don't get it. I feel I could talk with a lion. We'd figure something out for sure. Go out of your way a little bit this holiday season. See people a little bit more than you usually would. You know, if you get invited to a bunch of things and you're only planning on doing some of them, just because you don't want to be exhausted, step out a little bit more. Have some fun. Make a gingerbread house. Have some candy canes. I always forget that candy canes even exist until December. And then I'll see some and I'll be like, holy candy canes. Forgot about these things. And then I'll have like 10 candy canes the first day. And I don't get tired of them. Recommendation, holiday thing, is to have try mulled wine. That's the recommendation, mulled wine. I had it for the first time a couple days ago and it was delicious. Nice holiday spice, warm wine, it works. Give it a go. If you don't partake in the consumption of alcoholic beverages, go for a holiday spiced tea. I've also got a box of holiday spiced teas that I like to break out during December. I think the holiday just has some good spices. I think other holidays need some signature spices as well. Halloween sort of got that, like pumpkin spice going on. It works for it. But Easter, there's no Easter spices. Thanksgiving, gravy's not a spice. But Christmas, you've got nutmeg and cinnamon and peppermint and just a lot of nice, fragrant, good stuff. Rum and eggnog, if you're not a mulled wine fan, give rum and eggnog a go. Really just dive into the holiday. It's the best time of year. Other holidays come and go really quick. Christmas is like, enjoy it for a couple weeks. Really lean into it. Call up some friends and just be like, hey, rum and eggnog, mulled wine, spiced tea, Christmas movie candy cane night. We just all hang out. Just talk. Talk about life. Talk about where we're at. Have some fun. Let the cat out. Let the dog out. Let the bird out. Make sure nobody's got garden shears around though. Get a live shot of Belle here, trying to be a part of the podcast. You can probably hear her. Anyway. I don't know how much more I got left in me here. You'd think after 2 weeks there'd be tons to talk about. And I guess there is. I don't want to get so heavy. And this episode I don't want to talk about sort of sports and distractions as much because I just tried to tell us all not to do that. But hockey's had some interesting revelations, especially around coaching and the abuse that players take from coaches. And it's a good thing. Needs to come out. There's also been some racism issues raised in the sport. And that's good too. You know, hockey is a very white sport. And when you're surrounded by it, just white people, it's going to breed, not contempt, but it's going to breed definitely a lack of awareness. And unfortunately, it's not something that can be fixed without just more integration, I guess, with more black players in the league. And it's coming as hockey grows. But it's unfortunate because it's just kind of the way that it is, you know. But it surprises me that it's not coming out in other sports. Like, I'm sure football's got the same issues with coaches and management and the way that players are treated, because these coaches all throughout hockey player careers are, you know, really in charge of their lives. Unless you're the top of the top percent, even when in the NHL or in junior, if you're not those top guys, then your career is not guaranteed. Whether you're going to make enough money to live is not guaranteed. And the longer you try to chase that, the scarier it gets to not reach that goal. And that goes for all sports. And so these coaches and these owners and managers have so much power over these athletes that are, you know, at these times between the ages of 16 and 25, 16 and 30, like still trying to make it, still trying to secure that next payday. And, you know, there's no way that you can afford to commit some sort of career sabotage by going against the people that are in control of when you play and how much you play, and really if you're going to make it. Your skill can only get you so far, and then you need to, Other people need to believe in you and help give you your break. And that power does not bring out the best in people. So it's a good thing that it's coming out in hockey. I'm glad it is. Needs to be done. But it probably needs to be done in all sports. Probably needs to be done in all facets of life. In big companies and things like that. There's probably so many people that are being abused and taken advantage of every day. But they can't speak up because it's done by people in power. I think that's been a really big thing that's been happening over the past few years with the Me Too movement, obviously, and then even what's going on in Hong Kong, what's going on in the NHL, and just all these different examples of regular people trying to fight people in power. And I think that balance is coming where people don't have so much power, where everybody's on equal or close to more equal playing fields. It's coming. We just got to keep talking. Talk to people about life, about your feelings. Deal with it. Deal with it together. This is Dealing with Life. Episode over.